Hello guys, Andy Walker here. Um, those of you who have done predictions before, you'll probably know me from doing the predictions in the last two seasons for the Barclays Premier League. Done kind of mediocre, but obviously today's Thursday the 9th of June and tomorrow is the start of the Euro 2016 campaign. So what I would like to do for you today is to show you kind of what my predictions are for this tournament going forward. And yeah, this is the first time I've ever actually done anything like this in a video, so if I stutter or a bit nervous, bear with me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each group and each team with quite a fine-tooth comb, and I'll explain to you why I've predicted the outcomes the way I have. So, without further ado, we're just going to go on into tournament, start from Group A, go through to Group F, and then kind of tell you about the knockout connotations there, and eventually tell you who I predict as my winner. So, first off, we've got Group A. It's the host France, also kind of one of the favourites going into the tournament. They are going to be in a group with Romania, Albania, and Switzerland. What I think is going to be happening here, there's a very good reason that France are one of the favourites for the tournament. First of all, you ever want to look at who is a favourite in any tournament, what you want to do is you want to look in their centre midfield, you want to look at their engine room and see kind of, all you have to do is look at France. They've got N'Golo Kante, who was very prolific with Leicester City. Vardy and Mahrez got the plaudits there for Leicester, but Kante was the holding guy in the middle of the park, and without him, Leicester would have finished far lower. He's made his way into the France team with his performances, and rightly so. You've also got Blaise Matuidi and their number 10, their centrepiece, Paul Pogba. And the reason France are suddenly so good again is because Pogba is the first guy since Zidane that's kind of been fit to lace his boots, to be honest with you, because none of the others kind of in between that period have come close. So all you have to do is look at France's midfield, that tripod of Pogba, Matuidi and Kante, to see that they're going to be very difficult to break down. They're always going to win those midfield battles in the centre of the park there, and that's why they're going to be favourites. Their first match against Romania, it should be quite a routine win for them. Additionally, France and Switzerland are probably the two favourites for that group. I don't really know that much about kind of the players in the other two, so they're kind of the underdogs there. And I think, the way things are looking, France and Switzerland after the first two matches will probably have 6 points each safely through, and they will go into kind of a decider for top spot, so to speak. Given what I've said about France, it'll probably surprise you when I say that final match there in that group, I actually think Switzerland will win it, because the French, as good as they are, when it comes to safely ensuring qualification with a game to go and then slacking off in the final match, they have form. All you have to do is look at the group stages of the World Cup 2 years ago. They safely secured qualification. They were also in a group with Switzerland. Then they drew with Ecuador. I guarantee you they wouldn't have drawn with Ecuador if they needed the 3 points to top the group then. And also, if anybody remembers Euro 2000, it's probably my first proper memory of a tournament. Zinedine Zidane single-handedly winning that tournament for the French. But they also did something very similar there when they won their first two games, and then so did the Dutch, I believe, who were the hosts at the time. They ended up losing that final match to the Dutch. So when it comes to slacking off, I'll repeat it again, the French have form, which is why going into predictions, Group A I think will look like this. You can see that there. Is it the wrong way around? Yeah, got Switzerland top in the group on 9 points, France finishing second. Romania will probably beat Albania for that third place, and whether or not they make it in as one of the 4 lucky third place teams to qualify, in time we'll see, and I'll explain that kind of going further on. Now, Group B is the one that's kind of probably got the most media attention, because you get England there, Wales, and they're up against Russia and Slovakia. Now, obviously, the relationship with England we have, as a Scot, very easy to be prejudiced and everything like that. I'm not, because I actually lived in England for 4 years, 4 of the best years of my life, so I wouldn't say I'm one of those who they're my second team, but I'm not an anyone but England guy either. I support Scotland first, and good football second, whoever plays it. So that being said, it's kind of very interesting group to analyse because the way I see it, England, they've made a lot of kind of the same mistakes they've done. I think it was Einstein that said the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. And the insane thing they've done that they've refused to learn from is, I don't think the media might drive it more than anything else, in the way that when a player starts doing well, they start to kind of do everything they can to get every player in there, even if it doesn't fit a certain system. So what they've tried to do is they've tried to play Harry Kane and Jamie Vardy up front due to both their form, and I mentioned before about you want to look for midfield balance. The French are a very good example of that. England are the opposite in terms of, they didn't take Danny Drinkwater with them to the squad, took Jack Wilshere instead. Fair enough, Wilshere's a great player for what he can do. When he's fit and he's not injured, he's probably the most talented midfielder. But they've also taken too many strikers as well, I feel. There was Daniel Sturridge and Marcus Rashford, the young Man United guy there. I would have sacrificed one of them, and then you could have taken Wilshere and Drinkwater there. That would have been my personal choice if I was England manager, but obviously he's gone against that, which restricts them to playing a very specific system, because you're going to have Kane and Vardy up front. I would personally say pick one or the other, because 4-4-2 of the diamond just does not work at top international level. It's good for beating minnows. You get crosses into the big guy, and then they head it in one or two. So they're probably going to get out the group quite comfortably. But when they get to the knockouts, I think it's going to be same old eventually. Obviously, England aren't the only people in Group B. You've also got Wales. First time they've qualified in 58 years. And they've been very unlucky in previous campaigns. You might be easy to dismiss them and say, they've never really been close. Not true. There was the 94 World Cup where they lost out in qualification that last game. There's been other times they've been really close. I remember they beat Italy in 2001, I think, in the qualifying up at the Millennium Stadium. That was a great game. So there's bad luck there. But Wales have changed now because, once again, Gareth Bale's going to get the plaudits. He's their one world-class player. And then they've got an outlet, but they've also got a good engine room as well. Going back to that kind of centre midfield rhetoric I've been talking about, because they've got Aaron Ramsey and Joe Allen in the centre of the park. So Wales' strategy is going to be simple. Get the ball in midfield, pass to Gareth Bale. Get the ball, pass to Gareth. Get the ball, pass to Gareth. That's what they're going to do over and over again. And because other teams will identify Bale as somebody to mark, 9 times out of 10 it's not going to work. However, when you're as talented as Gareth Bale, that one time it only needs to work once. So, Wales are going to be a very good team, and I am willing to kind of stick my neck out and say I don't think they're going to lose in 90 minutes. Because Gareth Bale can get them out of significant problems, but when you've got history of bad luck the way Wales has, they're going to go out to the first team they draw with that takes them to penalties in the knockouts. That's my prediction for Wales right there. Russia aren't as good as they used to be. They've had some great players during the day, Andrei Arshavin, people like that, but they're kind of no longer part of things, and their best player currently, Zagoev, isn't playing anymore, I've heard, so it's going to be tight for them. Slovakia as well, they're probably the ones I know least about, and maybe it's wishful thinking, hoping that they're going to lose all 3, because obviously they're going to go head to head with Scotland for that second spot for the World Cup in 2 years' time. That's going to get in the head itself a bit. But also, I don't really recognise any other players. They've got Martin Skirtle, obviously, at the back, and I think they've got Hamsik in the centre of midfield. Good players, so they're going to be solid, they're going to be tough, but ultimately they're not going to have really enough quality to really get anything out of that group. And I think with that, all 3 teams are going to beat Slovakia, and then it's going to be a 3-way mini-table between England, Russia and Wales. I think Wales are going to draw both their games, and England are going to beat Russia, leaving my table looking like this. England topping the group on 7, Wales on 2nd, Russia 3rd, and Slovakia on 0. Now, on to Group C. This is Northern Ireland's group. It's got Germany, and Poland, and Ukraine. Now, as far as how Northern Ireland are going to do, the home nation interest, they're actually a very fascinating study, because where they're most likely to get their points is from the Ukraine, but psychologically the most important match for them is against Poland, the opening match, because not so much the result, but their performance against Poland is going to set the tone for how they play in the next two. The Germany game at the end, hopefully shouldn't be that relevant for them, because it goes two ways. Because Northern Ireland, when they do get to tournaments, actually have a decent record, and they're known for being giant killers. They're never going to be the most talented bunch of lads in the world, but there's a great kind of togetherness about them. So they're not going to be the pushover that people might perceive them to be. So with them, it goes two ways. Because that opening game against Poland, it's one of those, because I mentioned they're giant killers. Poland aren't giants, they're not a glamour kind of match-up for them, but they play like it sometimes. So it's one of those horrible adhesive games for them. I think they'd probably rather have played Germany first, then they would have nothing to lose, and then they could, move forward. But alas, their first match is against Poland, and how they play in that determines how they're going to play for the next two matches, because if they lose really badly to Poland, they'll also lose to the Ukraine, and they could finish bottom with 0 points. But I don't think that's going to happen, because they know their strengths, they know their weaknesses, and they're a very together bunch, as I said. So even if they narrowly lose to Poland, I think they can G themselves up to get themselves a victory over the Ukraine, because the Ukraine don't have Andriy Shevchenko anymore. They don't have anyone. The only player I've even heard of in their squad is Timoshuk, who's about to reach 150 caps. Good on the guy. He's a trooper. He's about 38 now, I think. But that's the only player in Ukraine I actually recognise. So due to kind of the psychology of the Northern Ireland team, I think they will put on, even if they narrowly lose kind of your 1-0 to Poland, I think that'll be good enough for them to kind of really carry into the Ukraine game and actually get a win. Germany are going to win all 3 of their matches. You never write off the Germans. They don't look as good as they did at the World Cup 2 years ago, but I still think that they're good enough to kind of go through that group with a fair amount of ease. And Poland, they might kind of guarantee that they're through with that victory over Northern Ireland, and then secure it with a point against Ukraine in the final match. So, Group C, there's my prediction. I've got Germany topping the group with a 100% record, Poland 2nd on 4, and Northern Ireland getting their win over the Ukraine. Once again, may or may not be enough to get them into one of the 4 third place spots. Ukraine finishing bottom on a point. I may or may not be being generous there. Anyway, on to Group D. Now, Group D is one with Spain, Croatia, Czech Republic, and Turkey. Now, once again, I don't think Spain are going to have too many problems. They should be able to kind of overpower anyone in front of them there. Now, it's the other teams that are kind of the more interesting. Croatia, for example, I think, other people might say Czech Republic might get the 2nd spot. I don't. This isn't the team with Pavel Nedved and et al. There anymore. They're going to be like Slovakia, they're going to be a hard-working group, which means they're going to make it tough for opponents, but ultimately it's not going to be enough. Croatia, on the other hand, they're maybe a bit slow at the back, but they have Luka Modric and Ivan Rakitic in the centre part. That is a midfield to die for. I mean, seriously, Croatia's a country with 4.5 million people in it. That's like about 750,000 less than Scotland, and they're producing players like that. Seriously, SFA, if you're watching this video, have a wee word with the Croatians. Ask them what they're doing right, so we can get those kind of players somehow, kind of develop them. That would be nice. So I think Croatia ultimately are going to beat the Czechs and Turkey. Spain are going to win their 3 games, and then Czech Republic and Turkey. I can't really separate them either. I think they'll get a point each, and that'll be their only points there. Quickly through Group D, Spain on 9, Croatia on 6, Czech Republic and Turkey on 1 each. 1 point will definitely not be enough to get into the knockouts, so Czechs are out there. That's one part. Group E. Now this is going to be a very tight game, and also it's one that Republic of Ireland are in. Unfortunately, they are up against my personal favourites for the title, Belgium. They're also up against Italy and Sweden, or should I say Zlatan Ibrahimovic and 10 others. It might be a bit of an insult to the other Swedes there that probably worked very hard to get their place, but Ibrahimovic is the marquee name there. And unlike Wales, I can't think of anyone else who's really kind of going to get it to Zlatan. But anyway, I'm afraid the Republic of Ireland, they probably get the poorest chance of any team on the kind of British Isles of going through. I could see Belgium sweeping everyone before them. Italy, Spain and Republic of Ireland getting 9 each. A lot of people might look at that and think Italy, but the Belgians are a better all-round team. I mean, they've been brewing for a good few years. They were kind of probably the second or third best European team at the World Cup that are here, because obviously the Dutch aren't, failed to qualify. I really do think this is their year. I mean, once again, you look at their midfield: Axel Witsel, Marouane Fellaini, and Defour, as well as Eden Hazard. Now I know Vincent Kompany's injured, but they have a natural partnership from Tottenham in the form of Alderweireld and Vertonghen. It's a team that's naturally gelled together. They've got all the good players in all the right places. So I really do think they could sweep all before them. And then it'll be between Italy and Sweden for whether they finish second or third. And my good friend Nicholas probably won't talk to me if I said that Sweden would beat Italy. So no, 2-1 to Italy there. And that's quite a straight kind of group there. Belgium on 9, Italy 6, Sweden 3 and Ireland on 0. Now, the final group is kind of probably the most interesting, because a lot of the teams they've got Portugal there, but you've also got the teams that have benefited from the expansion from 16 to 24 teams. You've also got Austria, Iceland and Hungary. Now, Iceland were so impressive there in their group. They topped their group, I believe, and they had like the Dutch and the Czech Republic in that group. They were really good, as well as Turkey. Now, Austria as well were very impressive. Like, they were in a group with Sweden and Russia, and I believe they topped that group with a fair bit to go. I may be mistaken on that, but I remember being very impressed with them. But there is a thing where teams can qualify comfortably, and then once they get to the big stage, the finals, the more famous names up their game. So I think Portugal will sweep all before them, and Austria and Iceland will both beat Hungary and draw with each other. And kind of unsure. It will go down to goal difference, really, who goes second, who goes third of Austria and Iceland. But 4 points either way will be enough to see the third place team through. So that's my prediction, if you can see it. Portugal 9, Austria, Iceland 4, Hungary and 0. Once again, they're just not going to have enough quality, even though they made it there. I mean, they were in the group with Northern Ireland and Romania as well, so they were not way behind, but a good bit behind in third. They're probably the 24th best team there, I'd say. I don't think they'll be at the races. Anyway, so that's my prediction for the groups. All that's left is from the group stage is the third place ranking. I've already showed you kind of the group stages there, so that's what it's going to look like. You got Russia and Iceland safely through in 4. Sweden on 3 in goal difference, and then you got Northern Ireland squeezing through as the 4th third place team, and then Romania and Czech Republic, I'm afraid, are going to be going home at the first round despite finishing third, which leaves the following. So moving on to the knockout stages now, because I did all this in kind of a prediction generator and it came up with these knockout connotations. So the first one is going to be France against Poland. I think it'll be quite a solid, France will get through no problem. Their midfield will choke out the Poles. They've got Lewandowski and they've got the two One's still at Dortmund and one no longer at Dortmund. They've got Błaszczykowski and Piszczek on the right hand side. That's pretty much Poland's strategy. Get it down the right hand side and cross it into Lewandowski. It's good, but it's also very easy to form a game plan against, and France just have too much throughout the park, and they will be the first team through to the quarterfinals after beating Poland, despite finishing second in their group, which is my out there prediction. Second one I've got here is Spain against Austria. Like I said, Austria very impressive in their the qualifying stages, but ultimately Spain are going to be too strong. I'm going to say 4-2 Spain. They will attack, but they'll be outscored ultimately. The third one I've got, due to the connotations, is England against Northern Ireland. Now, this one is an interesting one because, Northern Ireland, as I mentioned, are known for being giant killers and also very good at tournaments. I think it was 1982 or 1986 World Cup where they famously did quite well while they were in the group stages, and they put up a good fight, shall we say. But I do think also England, despite all the misgivings I've had about their strategy and everything, it does have a habit of doing well against other home nations. And as such, I think they will probably scrape past Northern Ireland 2-1. But the fight that Northern Ireland will put up will make the media very unhappy with the unconvincingness of England's performance there. So I think they'll go through. Fourth one down, halfway through the round of 16 knockouts, will be Portugal against Italy. Probably the highlight, the standout tie there. To the point where I'm going for Italy 2-1 after extra time. Portugal obviously have Ronaldo, so it'll be a controversial thing. And if do it well balanced as well. They've got Miguel Veloso and Gianluchino in the centre as well. So they don't lack balance either. Just instinctively going for the Italians 2-1 after extra time. Germany and Russia, not really much to say. Quite a convincing 2-0 win for the Germans. Then you get Belgium against Croatia. Once again, plenty of creativity from the Croatians, but slow at the back. Belgium are better overall, so I'm going 2-1 to Belgium. Now, the penultimate one I've got is Switzerland against Sweden. And yeah, that's a very difficult one to call. But due to a certain narrative, which I will explain to you at the end of the video, I'm going to say Switzerland on penalties. Yeah, I'll explain that one later. But the final round of 16 game, I've got Wales against Iceland. Now, I mentioned before about Wales, they're not going to lose in 90 minutes. But I've seen, Wales actually played Iceland in a friendly in Cardiff a year or so ago, and Bale single-handedly tore them to shreds. So I think he will be the difference. And he'll send Wales through to the quarterfinals, probably maybe after extra time. But yeah, I think Wales will be there. So moving on to the quarterfinals, France against Spain. It's beginning to get quite tasty now. Yeah, I'm going to say Spain aren't the force they were. Obviously they won 3 tournaments in a row when they had 2008, 10 and 12. Ultimately France are the host, and quality over the park, great balanced midfield, which I've discussed ad nauseum, against a fading Spain side. I'm going to say 2-1 to France. Second one's England against Italy. Ultimately this will be the end of the road for England. They'll be able to have gone through the group stages no problem, beat Northern Ireland, but once they come up against Italy, a real quality opposition, I think that will be the end of the road. 2-0 Italy. Now this the third one, Germany against Belgium. Now, I'm going to stick my neck out here and say, because Germany you never write them off, obviously, but I've looked at some of the players that are getting a game there and I'm thinking, I've never heard of them. I've not been watching the Bundesliga highlights and ITV4 often enough, but I've never heard of their wing backs. So, might be alright, but, they've lost a few players to retirement clearly, which is why they're getting in. You never write them off, but ultimately I think this is Belgium's year. Sticking my neck out, Germany 0, Belgium 1. For the same reason that I had Switzerland beating Sweden. I'm going to explain this narrative to you at the end once I've predicted my winner. Now, the final match of the quarterfinals, Switzerland against Wales. I think, ultimately Switzerland have a good team. In addition to Xherdan Shaqiri, how Stoke City got their hands on him, miracle. They've also got Arsenal's new signing, Granit Xhaka. That's a top team, Switzerland. Finally getting around to analysing them. And ultimately, I think this is where Wales are going to go out on penalties. Switzerland, 2 penalty shootout wins, but I think this is where I talk about Wales not losing in 90 minutes, but the first team to take them to penalties will beat them. And that's what Switzerland are going to do in the quarterfinals. So that completes our semi-final lineup. We've got France against Italy and Belgium against Switzerland. So I think just on sheer merit of the fact that France are the hosts, I get them going through to the final, and I think Belgium are just a wee bit stronger and more physical than Switzerland. So I've got a France-Belgium final. Now, this is the point. You're probably wondering where I came up with this whole narrative thing before. Here it is. Every 12 years, a smaller team wins the Euros. You go back, 1992, Denmark won it when it was hosted in Sweden. In 2004, more famously, Greece won it when it was held in Portugal. So 2016, if you follow patterns, if you get any kind of superstition like that, is the year that something similar will happen, where one of the big teams may not do quite as well as planned. Now, in order to kind of see the pattern, I said at the start, because I worked that out, and I said, obviously Denmark won it in Scandinavia, and Greece won it while it was played on the Mediterranean, let's just say. So kind of similar cultures comes into it. So, and yeah, I think Denmark beat the Germans, who were world champions in that final, and Portugal were the hosts and finalists in 2004. So, sticking my neck out and saying a French-speaking smaller side, i.e. Belgium or Switzerland, is going to beat either the world champions or the hosts in the final. And I have here a France-Belgium final, 1-0 to Belgium. That's my prediction, and I'm sticking to it. So I know we've been going for nearly 28 minutes here, and I've analysed every team, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you're not tired of my voice now. But thank you for listening.